Hello, my name is Justin Cook. I'm the West Coast Regional Sales Manager for EverLast Lighting, and I'm really excited to be with you here today. We actually are going to be looking at military projects today. In the past, we've done 30-minute webinars, and they've been extremely successful. We actually received feedback from a lot of our reps who said if we can condense those down to 15 minutes, we'd have even more opportunity to reach our partners, our rep partners, and bring success moving forward. So I'm excited to be here, excited to discuss with you military opportunities, military projects. How do we close those? Having a lot of patience, having a lot of understanding of what's going on. Today, we're going to be focusing on three different things. We're going to be focusing on compliance, product engineering, and timeframes. For each of those, we're going to get a little bit in depth, but nothing that's going to be too much. We'll be sending material out after this webinar that will provide a little bit more insight into some of these different areas. First, we're going to look at compliance. So compliance is really interesting. Compliance, you really kind of look at some different standards that you have to go by. And there's a lot of cases you might look at American made, buy American, buy America. In our case, we are ARRA compliant, and a bit of history with ARRA. So back in 2009, during the Great Recession, President Obama put together a plan to bring back jobs to America. And one of the ways that they did that was having restrictions on products that were made here. And we fall within those restrictions. We're very similar to a lot of the large conglomerate lines in that way that we do fall within that ARRA compliance. I will say that this ARRA compliance is not something that it's not Buy America, it's not Buy American, but it allows to be able to get in those facilities that you need to get into. Reaching and getting those compliances are extremely important. Having that ARRA compliance is something that allows you to get your foot into those areas. One of the main points, one of the things that we see a lot of is this idea of product engineering. And what I really mean by that is when you look at it and you look at engineers and you look at contractors, they're the ones who are putting down the specifications. They're the ones who are saying, we need a product to look like this. And with that comes opportunity. With that comes opportunity to work with a manufacturer who is extremely flexible in how they do things. And a lot of that it goes back to the communication part of it. So when you look at in a communication standards, a lot of that goes back to the compliance, understanding what's needed from a compliance standpoint, but also goes back to what's needed with the product. What is at the wattage, the voltage, how does it hang? Are there different specifications that they need from the standpoint of an optic or from a reflector or those type of cases? What is needed to really be successful within those areas? And a lot of it goes back to communication and having those discussions and having those on the front end, allowing it to not have to be reactionary, but be proactive. Have a clear understanding of what needs to be worked out. And from the standpoint of manufacturers, communicating that allows us to be able to provide you with an extremely high-end project that can actually be specified to what is needed. We've actually worked on several different projects that we're excited about, that we've done different specifications on, different things that are needed. The first one that really comes to mind is the Marine Corps Logistics Base in California. That one we've most recently worked on, and the reason why I bring that up is because of the sensors, the control system that was needed there. We actually we used our HL15B at the time, and what we did is we used a tri-level sensor in that case. That tri-level sensor, what we're able to do with that is have it go from 100% to 50% to off. And that's something that dealt with communication. That was the focus of working with our agencies or working with our rep in that area and having them communicate to us what is needed. And from that standpoint, we were able to communicate with each other and have a strong focus on, okay, this is what it takes to be successful here. We've had several other different projects, several of them that are still in the works. We've been working on a project that actually is specific to a dam area. And this one is really neat in the case that we've actually, with communicating with our agency, we've had the opportunity, and what we've done is we've taken our standard high bay fixture, which is the HL15B, now the HL17B, and we've separated the driver from the heatsink. And that driver separation from the heatsink has allowed them to use a historic reflector and put that on top of the heatsink. We have built brackets, we have done different modeling to assist with developing this needed fixture that needs to be historical within that facility. Throughout this time, we've also done different military projects. We've done ones in Oklahoma, that were very successful, and a lot of it just goes back to flexibility. A lot of it goes back to that communication that is needed to really be successful in those spaces. And with that communication comes an understanding that there is a timeline. And how I always look at it is it's kind of like this tempo. I think we've all dealt with it with dealing with military projects, which is they're going to speed up and they're going to say this needs to be, I need a sample now, I need to get this out now. And then you get them to sample, and then it's a 5 month waiting period until they close the project, and then the project gets closed and they need it in 2 weeks. And a lot of it just deals with having the patience and understanding that there is a time frame, but it also deals with communication on that front end. Understanding that we need to have that communication back and forth and understand a timeline that's there. There's a few major factors that play into what that timeline entails. One of them is budget. With any military project, of course, it's coming down from the government. That budget needs to be approved. When that budget is approved, then we can move forward. That's something they might actually get samples and different things before the budget's approved. Bring that in, say, okay, this is what we're looking at. This is the pricing of this particular fixture, and build out a budget with that. They might come in with a budget. Again, it goes back to the communication part of it. How do we communicate with each other to be successful in making sure that we're staying on budget or providing them with the pricing that's needed? Another one is facility availability. We've all dealt with this. There's different things, there's different timelines, different time frames that we can actually get into the facility, that the contractors can get into there and install these fixtures. When you look at the facility availability, again, that goes back to that communication standpoint. I've had the opportunity to work on a lot of projects, and the one actually down in Oklahoma, communication was great. We had a clear understanding of what it needed to be, and we understood that this is the time frame that we have going on there. And again, one of the things that I'll actually discuss with this too is the material. So as we look at this, and this goes back to communication and the patients, is having a clear understanding of what the material availability is going to be. And when I say that, that deals with large scale projects. When we look at, there might be something that's so specific that we say, okay, our production staff might need to take a little bit longer to get to that point. We might need to get the raw materials in to make sure we're providing the correct product to the customer. All that goes back to having an understanding and patience and communication along the whole way. It's making sure that we discuss back and forth how we be successful in this project. Again, keep calm, patience, understand that things will get done. We will be successful within these projects. It all goes back to communicating with each other. It all goes back to how we can be successful within this particular project, within the projects that deal with these military facilities. Dealing with that and looking at that keeping calm and being patient, a lot of that goes back to how do we leverage the resources? And a lot of the resources, of course, are going to be your contractors, your engineers, but one of the main resources is going to be your manufacturer, and that would be us. Using us, understanding that we can provide the highest level of service, we have a outstanding warranty, and we have great engineering solutions. We work in a collaborative environment within our facility that allows us to be able to design and build the fixture that's needed for you and your customer. Again, that goes back to communication. What is needed for that? But we are here to help you out and we are here to take care of you within that. And that's my particular job. When you look at your regional support, how do we look at this? How do we close more deals? How do we close more deals within these military facilities? That's our job. That's a collaborative effort between myself and those agencies, between all of our reps, all of our regional sales managers. It's the focus on how do we close these military projects. Again, that goes back to the communication aspect of it. We also have our technical support. It's a huge deal. We have our engineers there, our quality control, our production. Everybody is there to help you out. We work, again, in tandem to make sure that those projects are successful for you. And then we're always available. I say that from my standpoint because I live in Michigan, but I'm on the West Coast, or I manage the whole West Coast. When looking at that, I'm always available. My associates Cody Hadley and Brian Schultz are always available. We are available to make sure that we take care of any issues that may arise, any questions you may have, anything that you need to communicate with us about. We're here to help you out in that capacity. Anything that you need, please let us know. And then one of the things that we like to do, and one of the things that we provide to all of our agencies is data and sales trends. When you look at that, the data and sales trends are so specific to your agency, and a lot of it is how do we take this, how do we take the data, how do we take what's been trending and use that to make you successful. Use that to make you successful in your area. Use that to make you successful with EverLast. A lot of that is just a focus on what can we do to help you. I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know we discussed it's a 15-minute webinar, but I know that everybody's really kind of busy and trying to stay safe at the same time. So I wanted to give you a really quick overview of military projects. I look forward to working with everyone in 2020 and in the future. Please let us know if you need anything from us. We look forward to working with you. Thanks.